Hello everyone, welcome again to Knowledge India. In this particular video, we'll move ahead and try to understand about billing account in case of Google Cloud. In the previous video, when we created a new Google Cloud account, right? Essentially what happened at the back end is that we created a cloud billing account. So let's try and understand what cloud billing account is, what is a project, what's the relationship between them, so that we are clear about it. So I've drawn a simple diagram here for you. If you look at this, what we created was this, a Google Cloud billing account essentially, right? So what is this Google Cloud billing account? It is basically a construct which Google uses to tell that who pays the money to Google, right, in order to use resources. So if you remember in the last video, we created an account where we specified some credit card, verified it, we had to give phone number, etc. Right? So with that, a Google Cloud billing account got created. In very simple terms, a cloud billing account is the place where your contact details, where your credit card details, all of those things are captured. And using those details, Google will charge you every month, right, some amount, which of course depends on your amount of usage. Now, when you are practically using things, you will go ahead and create resources in different projects. We had slightly discussed about projects, that a project can be thought as a logical boundary for keeping your resources, and at every project level you may have overall bill generated, right? For, let's say, for a particular application, I have got 10 or 20 resources, so it would make sense to put all those 10 or 20 resources into one project, so that at the end of the month I can see at the project level that how much cost has been incurred by all those 20 resources. This is one criteria to define a project. We can have other ways of segregation as well, which we'll talk about as we move ahead. But at least to start with, please understand that at a project level, you will have a monthly bill, right, which depends on all the resources which are there inside a project. And also the IAM part. We'll talk about IAM in more detail, but normally at the project level, you can go ahead and set up IAM permissions, that who can do what. You can even set it at the resource level as well. For example, let's say we have our project 01, and inside project 01, we have a couple of resources. Let's say there is a virtual machine, right? A Google virtual machine. Or there is some bucket, like a blob storage type of thing, or a database. So all of these are different resources which we are creating. So you may go ahead and set up permissions, that who can do what at every resource level, or you can go ahead and do it at the project level. As you see in this hierarchy, if I go ahead and apply some permission at the project level, automatically that permission gets inherited to the resources level. I will show this to you via console as well, so that you understand this fully. But please understand that this IAM thing, or the IAM permissions, kind of get inherited. So let's say there is a person called John. If I go ahead and give permission to John to let's say create or delete something, and I give that permission at the project 01 level, then automatically John will have those permissions at these resources level as well, right? If I want that John should be able to only let's say create or do delete actions on resource 1, then I should give John access only to resource 1 and not at the project level. Okay, so I'll show this to you via a demo as well. But please understand, generally you will group resources within a project. And how do you tell Google that for a particular project, whatever bill gets incurred, how will the payment happen for that particular amount, right? That happens with the help of cloud billing account. So it's very important that what will happen is, if you want to go ahead and create any resource within a project, automatically you will be asked that go ahead and attach a Google Cloud billing account to your project. Okay. Now what happens is, if you have only one billing account available, right? Then automatically that billing account gets added to every newly created project. I'll show you this thing here. So if we go to this particular project, this is the project which we created in our last video, whatever dev ki 001. So in this project, automatically our billing account got added. Let me show you here. You can see this project is selected. Always look at the top that which project is selected so that there's no confusion. So click on billing here on the left hand side, and you can see when you click on billing, so you can see these details come up, and here you will be able to see billing account overview, right? If you scroll down, you are able to see all these things, that this much amount is available, as free trial credit, etc. So basically, this is the important one, billing account. This is the billing account which was created, right? If I want to see more of its details, I can click on manage here, and then the billing account details open up. So you can see there is a billing account ID. This is the unique ID, and currently these two projects are linked to this billing account. This first one was like pre-created along with our setup. One project gets pre-created, right? So if you want, you can go ahead and delete this as well. So that is the first project, and this is the second one which we went ahead and created in our last video. And for both of those, our billing account ID is attached, or it is linked, right? So what does that mean? It means that if I go ahead and create any resources in these two projects, automatically this particular billing account will be used to do the payment for the same. Okay. Now, please understand, on the right hand side, you can see this particular user, ki.gcpcloud@gmail.com. This is the user which I used to set up the whole thing. So this particular user automatically got billing account administrator role, right? We'll talk about role in more detail, but basically this particular user automatically got billing account administrator role for this particular billing account, because this fellow only created it, isn't it? If we want, we can go ahead and add some other user as well to act as the billing account administrator. So of course, as we move ahead, we'll talk about different roles which are available within GCP. But for now, as starting thing, please understand, billing account administrator is kind of, as the name says, administrator. It is the most privileged role in terms of billing account. So basically, this, if a particular user has got billing account administrator, this person can do anything within this billing account. Okay, so I think that should be clear. So it says this is remaining. With a full account, you will get unlimited access. Activate. Okay, I'll press on this activate. It says activate your full account. I'll just activate. This is fine. All right. Okay, so this is done. What we can do next is we will go ahead and try to look at our project. So let me just go here, and I'll probably press back. And of course, this is the dashboard for my project. And if I want to go ahead and create any resource, right? Let's say we want to create an not EC2 instance. Right? This is not AWS, so here it is compute engine. So we'll go ahead and click on VM instances. If we click on this, it should show us the option to create that. But as you can see, it brings me to this particular page which says compute engine API, enable that. That means currently it is not enabled, right? So this is an additional thing. We can call this as a security measure, maybe, which Google has taken. So by default, whenever you create a project, it is not happening that automatically in that project you will have all the services enabled, right? For example, unless until I go ahead and enable this compute engine API, I would not be able to create a VM instance, right? Basically, I will not be able to interact with this service unless until I enable the API. So I've pressed this button, after which I should be able to do that. It will take a couple of seconds, and after that it should be done. In the meanwhile, let me press back here, and if we go from here, from this menu, you can go to APIs and services and look at enabled APIs and services. And please understand, we are working only within this project. Okay, so it will show me that what all APIs are enabled within this particular project. Okay, looks like this thing is still getting enabled. As you can see, it is still happening. Let's wait for a few seconds. Okay, now it says this is done. All right, let me just refresh this particular screen. Okay, so now you can see that I have got Compute Engine API in this list. Earlier it was not coming here. Okay, now this Compute Engine API is also coming. So basically I'm there on enabled APIs and services. So here all those APIs which are enabled are showing up. Some of the APIs are enabled by default. When we looked at it, I think some 15 APIs were enabled, so that is fine. But anything additional out of many other services, if you want to use, you will have to go ahead and enable the respective API. We can look at the documentation and understand that which of the APIs are enabled by default. Later on, if you are looking at, let's say, automating something, you may go ahead and automate your project creation in such a way that whenever a new project gets created, you also go ahead and execute few commands using which you enable those APIs which you normally use within your organization. So we can do all of that. Okay, but this is an additional step which you should be aware of. Now after this, if I go and I will if I go to VM instances, I should be able to basically go and create it, right? So as you can see, now I'm there on this particular screen where I should be able to go ahead and create the VMs. So this was a short video to explain you about the billing accounts. And one important thing to understand here is that in an organization, you may go ahead and have multiple billing accounts. If you really have a requirement, you can do that. And then if you have multiple billing accounts, you may go ahead and, let's say, change the billing account for a particular project. Let's say for the project 02, if you want to use account number 2, you can do that. But we also need to understand that if you have multiple billing accounts, then your overall usage per billing account would be lesser, right? So like the amount of discounts which you might be able to get talking to the cloud provider would be lesser. Well, that really depends. The only reason why I think you will go ahead and have multiple billing accounts could be that if you have some geography related things, or within your business, within your company, you may have, let's say, a couple of different businesses, and you want to go ahead and pay separately from every business. If that's something which you want to do based on your legal needs, then you may go ahead and have different billing accounts. Of course, having one billing account has its own benefits, because all of your usage will get clubbed into one, and you can ask for more discounts because you are using more. And even when you are using one billing account, there is no problem in terms of segregating the cost, because you know that you can look at the overall cost at per project level very easily. So even if you have one billing account, you can just go ahead and at the end of the month, you can say project 1 used X amount, project 2 used Y amount, and so on. Okay, so I hope you learned something from this video. We will meet you again with the next video. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.